welcome to the morning cruise right here on Value Chain TV. My name is Memona Bagodo, and of course, we do this every morning, and I won't be doing this alone. I have my senior colleague and also a co host with me here in the studio in person of Mr. Omar. You're welcome, sir. Good morning.
Thank you very much,
I'm so
Ramona.
excited to have you today.
I'm also excited. It's a pleasure meeting you.
Thank you so much. So we have a whole lot of interesting segments and also insightful segments as well. We'll usually kickstart with the news review where we give you a review of all of the happenings in the country and also internationally as well. And then after that, we'll be looking at major newspapers. That's our newspaper review where myself and Mr. Omar will be discussing about some very key and important headlines on the newspaper. And then after that, we'll be looking at commodity market. Of course, yes, we want to give you all of the updates that you need to know about major prices. And then also we have one of our segments where we'll be, letting our viewers know everything that will be happening on the electricity, agriculture. So stay tuned and don't miss any of our segments. And then after that, we also have trending issues. And to wrap the whole morning cruise segment, we have entertainment gist. So all of this and more will be coming your way after the short break. Welcome back from the short break to kickstart the morning cruise right here on Value Chain TV. Is the news update, and Mr. Omar have all of the necessary updates that we need to know. Enjoy.
Welcome to the news segment of Morning Cruise. My name is Umar Isa Bununu. The Secretary General of the African Petroleum Producers Organization, Dr. Umar Farouk Ibrahim, has advocated a second paradigm shift in the discourse on energy transition to achieve a quick and enduring success for Africa in addressing challenges posed by the global trend. The APO scribe opined that the first paradigm shift, being the need for transition from fossil to renewable energies, has thrown up challenges for the African continent, especially countries that rely on fossil fuels for revenue. Speaking on Value Chain TV program, the oil expert noted the inherent contradictions around energy transition, asserting that the imminent financing challenge for the oil and gas industry in Africa is not due to lack of funds in the global financial system for projects in Africa. He therefore advised that Africa should jettison the fixated ideas the continent received from years of biased socialization, especially the belief that salvation can only come from Western countries. Cross-section of Nigerians have reminded government of the need to quickly address the inflationary trend in the country following subsidy removal and increase in pump price of petroleum products. They expressed their views to our correspondent at Taal Orange Market, Mararaba, in the outskirts of Abuja, from where he reports that business is low.
This is Taal Orange Market, located at Mararaba Gurku in Karu local government area of Nasarawa State. It is one of the major markets in the outskirts of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. FCT residents patronize the market more than any other one near Abuja because of its proximity, variety of food stalls, which may see as cheaper compared to others in the satellite towns. Before now, the hustle and bustle in this market was huge, so that one hardly gets space to freely walk in the market. The story is however changing because of rise in price of goods and services, which some attributed to the increase in the prices of petroleum products following the removal of fuel subsidy.
It's very, very difficult for us because everything add money. Because of the situation in this country, fuel add money, so everything just go up. We are managing. We are just doing returning of money, exchange of money, no gain. All the business that we are doing, everything is down. We are managing our life. The motor, the transport that we are paying now is more than the income. At times we'll buy and we'll sell it, we'll short, but we don't know what to do.
The goods are available, but high cost of buying them, according to some people, is gradually but steadily becoming prohibitive.
It's not different from previous days. We are all in Nigeria. We can tell that the prices are increasing almost on daily basis. So we don't have no choice. We have to go just swim with the tide. We are not yet settled with the 540, and before you know it, it's now 620. So what do you expect? The foodstuff, they are being brought in with transportation. So definitely, if there's hike in fuel, there will be increase in prices. So that's what we're dealing with.
People that were coming from other places stopped coming because of the transportation. And when they come to buy, things are also costly for them. So they decided to stay back.
The situation, which affected both buyers and sellers, did not spare others who make a living. The market wheelbarrow pushers, water vendors, and tricycle operators are lamenting that business is low.
Da muna daukan baro 400-500 amma yanzu an ce komai ya ƙara kuɗi. Yanzu ma daukan hayan baro ne duk sati naira 1,000-1,500. Ga nan dai ina wannan sana'ar ne, ina dan rufawa kaina asiri kuma ina taimakawa gidanmu.
They appeal to the government to quickly roll out palliatives to mitigate the effects of subsidy removal and the increase in the price of petroleum products for life to be more meaningful.
Moving on, senators from the southeast geopolitical zone of the country have demanded President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to appoint 2 more ministers from the region. The report.
The Southeast region has the lowest ministerial representation among those appointed by President Bola Tinubu with 5 nominees. Senators from the Southeast zone therefore urge President Tinubu to appoint at least 2 additional ministers from their region. The senators said their demand is to ensure fairness and justice in the representation of all geopolitical zones in Tinubu's government. Tony Nwoye, LP Anambra North, made the position of the Southeast senators known via a motion he moved at the plenary on Monday. 14 other senators from the Southeast region are co-sponsors of the motion. Mr. Nwoye complained that the Southeast region has the lowest ministerial representation among those appointed by the president with 5 nominees. He also said insufficient representation from the Southeast region in Tinubu's government does not promote national unity and national loyalty as enshrined in the 1999 Constitution as amended. Mr. Nwoye requested that the Senate should urge President Tinubu to make additional appointment of at least 2 ministers from the Southeast to balance geopolitical representation in the Tinubu administration. The Senate President Godswill Akpabio interjected the Anambra senator while he was speaking on the motion. He promised that the leadership of the Senate would meet with President Tinubu very soon to table the matter before him. After confirmation of the ministerial nominee, South-South Zone has 7 nominees, Southeast has 5 nominees, Southwest have 9 nominees, Northeast have 7 nominees, Northwest has 9 nominees, and North Central Zone has 8 nominees. 3 nominees, namely Nasser El-Rufai, Northwest, Sani Abakar Al-Ladi, Northeast, and Stella Okotete, South-South, are still awaiting confirmation. Hawali Walasa, Value Chain TV.
And now to oil and gas. Nigeria's first integrated indigenous energy company, the Niger Delta Exploration and Production PLC, has changed its name to Aradel Holdings PLC. This is part of a strategic rebranding initiative aimed at reflecting the company's current portfolio and positioning it for future growth. A fresh corporate identity was also unveiled across all company platforms at a ceremony held in Lagos.
Our new brand identity, Aradel, energized for a brighter future.
The decision to change the company's name and identity according to the company underscores its commitment to repositioning itself as a leading African company dedicated to providing sustainable energy solutions that drive economic growth now and in the foreseeable future. Speaking at the official unveiling, the managing director of the company, Mr. Gbite Falade, said that parts of the future growth plans for the company is for its shares to be listed and traded on the Nigerian Exchange and Foreign Bourse, thereby throwing the company's ownership open to more Nigerians' capital and gaining higher notability. Value Chain reports that the listing could become a significant milestone for the 31-year-old company in the journey of its growth and development, enabling it to raise capital while strengthening its structure and reputation.
The management of the Nigeria Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, NUPRC, has been accused of illegally withholding 10 billion naira, which it cut from monies meant to be paid as benefits to those who had retired from the commission. A source told Value Chain that the supposed 10 billion naira virement meant to pay 30% illegally cut from all year 2022 retirees is yet to be paid. The report.
Speaking on the condition of anonymity, the source further noted that the management has not equally paid the retirees long service award benefits after having served the organization meritoriously for 35 years and for up to 20 months after exiting service. Meanwhile, the chief executive of the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, Gbenga Komolafe, has countered claims that the commission owed his employees about 10 billion naira, saying that the entitlements of all protesting staff have been settled. His response came after some employees of NUPRC commenced a 2-day protest over alleged non-remittance of pension deductions from staff salaries, poor working environment and insufficient working tools, among others. Komolafe told journalists that all unpaid claims of the protesting staff have been proceeded, noting that obligations relating to claims made by the union had been fulfilled and efforts were already in place to achieve closure on the pending items. The NUPRC boss said that his management found the protest strange because it had earlier invited the staff to meet with the commissioner to ensure that their demands were met.
And now to the situation in Niger Republic. Niger coup leaders have appointed a new prime minister. He is Ali Mohammed Zain, former Minister of Economy and Finance of the Republic. Hawa Ali Balasa has details of that report.
The spokesperson of the military junta announced the appointment of the economy minister Ali Mahman via a late-night television on Monday. Mahman had previously held the position of Minister of Economy and Finance for a considerable period in the administration of former President Mamadou Tadja, who was deposed in 2010. Recent reports from Nigerian media indicates that Zain had more recently served as an economist for the African Development Bank in Chad. In late July, the military seized power, leading to the ousting of democratically elected President Mohamed Bazoum and the suspension of the constitution in the nation, which is home to approximately 26 million residents. During Bazoum's tenure, Niger had stood as a strategic ally of Western nations in the concerted effort to combat the proliferation of Islamist extremist groups across the Sahel region. An ultimatum presented by the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, demanded the reinstatement of President Bazoum, warning Niger coup leaders to hand over power to the democratically elected president. The ultimatum expired over the weekend, warning of potential measures, including the application of force if the coup plotters do not comply. With the ultimatum having lapsed, the prime ministers of ECOWAS member states are scheduled to convene in Nigeria's capital, Abuja, on Thursday. The meeting aims to chart the course of action in response to the evolving political situation in Niger and the potential escalation of regional tensions. Hawali Alasa, Value Chain TV.
Meanwhile, military rulers in Niger have ignored the one-week ultimatum given to them by ECOWAS to quit and reinstate President Mohamed Bazoum or risk military intervention. Reports indicate that the coup plotters have gone ahead to rally unprecedented support from the civil population who joined them in keeping vigil on the streets of Niamey and other major cities like Maradi. An estimated 30,000 people gathered at a stadium in the capital Niamey, some draped in Russian flags as the threat of regional military intervention looms. A delegation of members of the now ruling National Council for the Safeguard of the Homeland arrived at the scene to cheers from supporters. The coup leaders have not yet issued any statement on the deadline. Reports from the Nigerian borders with Niger in Sokoto, Katsina, Jigawa and Borno states said millions of people are in dire straits due to fear of the unknown, occasioned by high cost or shortage of basic necessities of life like food and drugs. The new leader, General Chiani, has vowed not to bow to outside pressure. That's the news. Thanks for watching.
Next segment on the morning cruise is newspaper review. Mr. Omar, we have all of the newspapers this morning, and we'll be starting with The Guardian.
Okay, Maimuna, a warm welcome to you viewers. We are starting the newspaper review segment with The Guardian newspapers. And in The Guardian, we have just below the masthead, headline, Fear of Sovereign Debt Defaults Takes Toll on Banks' Economic Outlook. This is talking about how governments take loans, and when it is too difficult for them to pay back, they put the financial institutions in serious distress. Like what is happening in Ghana. Ghana took loans through securities and bonds, and the government is defaulting, thereby putting the entire economy at in disarray. So that is why this paper is bringing to our notice that there are other countries, not just Ghana, even in Nigeria, 5 banks. I think government collected loan to the tune of over 11 trillion naira from 5 banks in this country, and if they can't pay anytime the government defaults, that means the banks will be in a serious financial situation, which will definitely affect the economy. And if you look at what is happening now, the ratio, that is how we service our debts, our revenue to debt servicing is almost equal. And that does not give good hope or tidings. Sorry, it doesn't create a good picture of economy that is struggling. And bottom left of The Guardian, you have sports, optimizing D Tigres potential amid NBBF's basket case. D Tigres is Nigeria's national basketball team, which is the current kings of African basketball, and they are doing greatly in the game on the continent and at the world stage. And we hope this thing will continue as Nigeria is making a need for itself in the field of sports. If you remember, just recently our Falconets were eliminated in the World Cup at the round of 16 by England. So D Tigres has made Nigeria proud by winning the continental trophy in Senegal. And bottom right is Tinubu moves to end over-reliance on borrowing for public expenditure. It's just like a rider to something close to the first headline that is below the masthead. It's talking about how government is trying to now reform its tax policy, the fiscal policy, with a view to generating more income to service our debts and provide infrastructure and other services to the teeming population of Nigerians. And bottom of the paper still, we have Tinubu, Sanwo-Olu members mourn Odukoya's passing. You know, Mr. Odukoya just passed away recently. So the government of Lagos and other members of the Sanwo-Olu and Tinubu political camp or group are mourning the death of this revered person, Mr. Odukoya, and we hope his soul will rest with the Lord.
Amen. We sympathize with the families of the late Pastor Odukoya, and may the God give you the fortitude to bear the loss. So, still on the newspaper review, we have Daily Trust, and one of the major headlines: ECOWAS slams fresh sanctions on Niger. Now, Mr. Umar, you know that the president, which in person of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, placed some sanctions on the Niger coup and the members in charge of that. And then also, we woke up this morning to a fresh sanction. And this sanction has to involve the CBN, a whole lot.
That's more sanctions
Yes, more
coming to
sanctions.
Nigeria. That's not good enough for the people of that country, because Niger is one of the poorest countries in the world, and by the time these sanctions begin to take effect on the people, life will be very miserable for them.
Yes.
So I think the sooner they resolve this political crisis, the better for the people of that country.
Exactly. And still on the Daily Trust, we have Labour passes vote of no confidence on Gajabia Mila led committee. And then also we have we paid 3 million naira for FCC jobs, witnesses tell reps. So I've been seeing a whole lot of comments concerning citizens of Nigerians paying for federal government jobs. Now, this particular thing has been, over the years, it has been a reoccurring issue. You hear people saying, oh, I got into either the immigrations or the customs or the Nigerian correctional services, but I had to pay my way through those services. Do you think that should be the case? Because I believe as a citizen of a country, you have the right to, get jobs. Do you have to pay your way through those jobs?
And not at all, not at all. Nobody should pay for his own job. Because what is the essence of going to school? What is the essence of getting the required training for you to come and now contribute to the development of your country? The job you are offering is for them to now come and contribute their quota to the development of the country. So why should they pay to make an input in their country's strides to reach greatness? I don't think if it is something that we should encourage.
Okay, so Mr. Umar, what do you think we as individuals and also the government, what do you think are the basic measures, I beg your pardon, to take or to carry out to make sure that citizens, because it's our right, just like you said, the essence of going to school is to come out and get a better paying job. But then you have to pay a huge sum of amount to get this job that is your right. So what do you think are the basic measures that government and also individuals can take, and so that they don't find themselves in that situation? Is it that they have to report whoever is involved in this?
Of course, reporting those involved is one of the steps that will help us eradicate this from the map of job creation. Because if you look at it, it is amazing that somebody will come and ask you, if you want this job, pay this amount. It's amazing. What did he pay for his own engagement? The person that is not asking you to pay him some money before he now offers you a job. I believe those people doing this thing now did not pass through the same experience. They didn't experience this when they were offered appointments. So I think the best way to tackle this is for us to be reporting such incidences. Once somebody approach you, pay this amount, you can tell the security agencies. They know how to do their job. And Nigerians should not encourage this kind of practice. We shouldn't encourage it. If you say I must pay before you offer me a job, I will say go and hold your job. I will hold my knowledge and skills. But of course, it's you that is looking for people with such skills and knowledge. So definitely, if the recruiting officer places money over and above the interest of the organization, and by the time people refuse to go there to apply and seek for jobs, questions will be asked, and the person will have to explain why people don't come here, even though we advertise that we need so and so. We're yet to see anybody.
But sometimes when you put yourself in the shoes of these applicants, it's possible that they have finished school in like maybe 5 years, 10 years, and they've been at home, no job, and then they get these opportunities to be in these sectors, but then they have to pay.
Well,
So sometimes you're just in this box, and then an opportunity comes for you to just move ahead and okay, I'll look for the money. I even had a conversation with someone recently on this particular payment of job, and the person said in his own case he had to talk to the person in charge. Oh, I don't have the chunk money now, so why don't I give you half? You get me the job.
So they trade.
And then when I'm done
They are
with the
trading
trading,
it.
exactly. So it's trading, and a whole lot of people are making huge sum of amounts from this particular. But it's so sad. It's so sad that we ourselves can do this to each other. It really still
It's sad. It's sad.
So we're still on the newspaper review right here on Morning Cruise and still on Daily Trust. We have list of 45 confirmed ministerial nominees transmitted to Tinubu. This is really a good one. And then we have Zenith Bank signs pact with AFCFTA to build $1 million smart portal for Africa. And still on the Daily Trust, we have Tinubu vows to end over-reliance on borrowing for public expenditure. Yeah. Okay.
Borrowing.
Yes, borrowing. But then also, Mr. Umar, do we have to borrow?
Well, sometimes you must. Sometimes it's unnecessary. For like now, Nigeria, we must borrow to service some of the things government wants to do because we don't have the money. The revenue we are generating is not enough because about greater part of the revenue is going into debt servicing. So we borrow now to pay another loan.
I really hope we get out from all of this borrowing thing, because honestly, it's not a good thing for a country. Because I feel borrowing and debt is taking you back.
No, it's not. America is the most indebted country in the world, and it's the most advanced. So you if you don't have the resources to execute certain projects, you just have to borrow to do that. But the problem is when you borrow and you don't spend the money for the purpose you collected the loan for. That's where the problem is. If you say you are going to build roads and you collect the money and build the roads, fine and good. Nigerians will enjoy the service of the roads, and if you are collecting toll on the roads, you can at least generate that. That is it.
Right. So that is all for a Daily Trust. Mr. Umar, what do you have for?
I have on the nation. We have this banner headline: Federal government begins reform to end 20 trillion naira yearly tax losses. That's the tax reform initiated by Mr. President. As soon as he assumed office, he set up a committee to reform the fiscal policy as well as the tax system. And it is the belief of Nigerians that there are leakages in our tax collection, and that is why monies realized or generated through taxes don't usually get remitted. Not all of it get remitted. So I think Mr. President is trying to block all the leakages and expand the tax net such that more revenue will now accrue to the government. And at least now that they have removed petroleum subsidy and they need to provide palliatives, they need more money to do that, provide palliatives, then now do certain projects that will have direct bearing to the lives of the common man. So generally, before, if you want to do that, you must at least diversify your revenue base. And one of the areas through which governments, not only Nigeria, all over the world, that they make money is through taxation. Tax is a very, very crucial aspect of government's revenue generation.
And as a good citizen of a country, you should
pay your tax, yes. And still on the nation, CBN hits Niger Republic junta with sanctions. We have discussed this. More sanctions has come to Niger because once the junta refuses to heed to the advice of or warning given to them by ECOWAS that they should quit and reinstate Mohamed Bazoum, I think they will more sanctions will come to Niger. More sanctions, and if care is not taken, it may result into military intervention, which many people are praying that it doesn't get to that point. And still on the Nation newspaper, Zenith Bank, just in the year, Zenith Bank signs MOU with AFCTA on trade. You have mentioned that one in the APC Defense President's Choice of Ministers. Why will APC defend the choice of ministers?
Honestly, I don't think this is not a political matter. It is not. It has nothing to do with I beg your pardon, what political party you're into and all of that. Is to enable us get good people that will deliver on the job, that will do exceedingly well, and amend some things, basic things that we are having issues in this country. So, is that all for the nation?
That is all for the nation.
Okay. Moving on is blueprint, and on the blueprint we have Tinubu hints on critical tax reforms to meet Nigerians' needs, and still on the blueprint newspaper, Kuka to Northerners, let's fight insecurity together, and that is a very good call. It is necessary that all of the northern governors, chairmen of all local government areas, people that are in charge of making sure that the security in our country is well. Sorry, let me don't want to say it's the wrong thing. Make sure that we have people can go to sleep with both eyes closed. People can go to the market and sell happily and peacefully, knowing fully well that after the day's business, they get back to their homes safely. So it's a good call from Coca. And still on the blueprint, we have over 36 million killed globally by non-communicable diseases annually. Okay. Lastly, on the blueprint, go back to work. Nigerians dying, federal government begs resident doctors. I really want us to look at this strike by the resident doctors. We know health is wealth, and no one is in support of doctors being, treated wrongly by not paying them all of their allowances and all the basic things that they need for that, for the health sector to work, just like other countries. But then sometimes I always say it that going on strike, is it really the solution? Because as a health practitioner, you go on strike and then you still have people in the hospitals suffering and dying, no one to attend to them. Mr. Umar, what do you think?
You see, it's not good that our resident doctors are on strike, because the patients in the hospitals are suffering. Nobody to attend to them. You see, it's not always in the best interest of the nation to have this group of people leaving their workplace because of certain demands that have not been met. And I see this as something that is avoidable, because if those in authority have done what they are supposed to do, we wouldn't have found ourselves in this kind of situation. But be that as it may, the doctors, I don't know, they are always on strike. There is no single year that resident doctors will not go on strike.
These doctors, they also own their own private hospitals.
That is it.
Now they are on strike.
So
they want to
if you now if you now need their services, they refer you to their private hospitals. That's
we really need to do better as citizens.
Yes.
So that is all for the blueprint. What you
I have a business day with me. The headline: Niger coup worsens Nigeria's declining petrol market. And there's a rider to that. Tinubu asks CBN to slam more sanctions on Niger on page A3. So this idea of declining petrol market. So that means the removal of subsidy is not working.
Yes.
because the idea behind this is one of the ideas is to stop our petroleum products from being smuggled out of the country. So that means it is cheaper here than outside Nigeria, than in Niger Republic. So
Honestly, there are, you no matter how you try to want to understand it, you get to a certain level and you're lost.
the more you look, the less you
The
understand. The less you understand. Yes.
Would that be all for
Still on the business day, we have inflation, rent hike, land more people in court. So, because of this inflationary trend in the country, most people are not paying their rent. So because of that, the tenants, the landlords who are not patient enough with the tenants will rush to the courts for amicable settlement of the dispute between the tenant and the landlord. So I believe those tenants who have not been paying, they are not paying not just because they don't want to pay, but it's because of the situation we have found ourselves. So I hope the landlords will bear with them and tolerate them the more and give them more time so that there won't be confusion.
Of course, we're still on the newspaper review here on Value Chain TV on the morning cruise, and next week have News Direct, and we have debt profile. Tinubu moves from tax reforms to end over reliance of borrowing. Target 18% tax to GDP ratio in 3 years. Inaugurates Committee on Fiscal Policy Tax Reforms for Revenue. Crisis rocks mining sector amidst hustle for revenue. And stakeholders accuse governors of arbitrary abuse of mining acts. Still on the news direct. Brain drain. We are ready to absorb returning doctors in our military hospitals. COAS. What can you say about that, Mr. Omar? That really got me laughing. We're trying to, sort out these doctors to go back, and then the military is saying, okay, they are ready to absorb
those coming back. Where was the military when they were going out of the country? Why didn't they absorb them before? They shouldn't have even allowed them to travel out of the country in the first place. So the issue of absorbing them when they come back doesn't even arise, because I know they will not come back. Because out there, they get better condition of service, they have everything they want, and here, because of one reason or the other, we don't give them the enabling environment sometimes to practice. Sometimes they go on strike, not because of the salary, but because of certain things that they want government to put in place so that their job can go on seamlessly. But when such things don't happen, they don't have any option. But this is laughable that they are now telling us that when they are coming back, they will absorb them. Why can't you absorb those that are yet to be employed? Create jobs for them. Forget about those who have moved. Nigeria is a big country of over 200 million people. We have so many tertiary institutions, so many universities, so many doctors are being churned out. Intelligent doctors are being churned out every year. So try and get jobs for those people that are coming out of the universities now. Those that have left, let them continue to stay there. Or by the time they get tired of staying there, they can come back home. We will receive them. Then they now contribute to national service. Well, Maimuna, the next paper is Value Chain. This is a magazine of the paper.
Yes.
Value Chain magazine, 6th edition of the magazine, which is primarily an oil and gas and energy magazine, dwells more on these three issues. And the cover story for this magazine is as Tinubu steps up, crack down on oil thieves, vandals. That means there is no room for oil thieves and vandals. Maimuna, the oil thieves have been terrorizing the facilities in the Niger Delta area, thereby reducing our volume of production of petroleum, as well as revenue accruing to government from that sector. Because just like Asarudu Kubu, remember his visit to Mr. President?
Yes, I do.
He said he made an allegation that majority of the oil thefts that are being perpetrated are being done by a class of people that I wouldn't want to call here.
Of course.
And if at all what he said is true, that means we're in a serious problem.
I don't see Asari Dokubo giving a false news when it comes to the oil theft and the oil, business, bunkering and everything in that region, because he's like a godfather. And of course, yes, he has all of the information that the federal government need to fight oil theft. So if really, if what he said and the names he mentioned are really true and they are the ones in charge of this, then I think the government needs to take a drastic action very soon.
If at all it is desirous of generating the revenue, it will require to do what it wants to do.
Of course.
And still in the Value Chain magazine, there are stories that are of interest. There's this story on energy transition, practical steps to tackling Africa's energy transition challenges by Dr. Omar Farouk Ibrahim, who is the Secretary General of the African Petroleum Producers Organization, APO, in Angola. And it's a masterpiece. As Dr. Ibrahim is very articulate and very passionate about this energy transition and whatever. And it is going to be insightful. And there are other stories. SNEPCO MD Eloho Iboni pushes Shell's deep water vision 2 years on. It's about Shell's operations in Nigeria. And Nigerians need to know what is happening in their country by a foreign conglomerate. Then there is also a story on the deadly disease called malaria. So it's insightful. If just get a copy of the magazine and you will not regret spending your money on it.
Of course. And I urge all of you to look out for Eloho Iboni's story. I'm so passionate when women win. Of course. She's really doing amazingly well in Shell Company. So that is all for the newspaper review. You can check out these newspapers for more stories of the headlines we just read out. And then next is commodity market. Let's take a look at all of the major prices that you need to know, ranging from fuel down to foodstuff. Let's take a look.